Welcome back to Berry Life. Pasta is such a comfort food. With varying shapes paired with delicious sauces, it can be prepared in a multitude of ways. Today we're happy to share with you 5 of our favorite vegan and vegetarian recipes. Follow our step-by-step tutorials and elevate your pasta game. So let's get started. Why did the mushroom throw a party? Because he was a fun guy. Konnichiwa everyone. Today we have something truly special for you, a delicious wafu, or Japanese-style mushroom pasta. It's a fusion of Japanese and Italian flavors that combine to create something out of this world. Since this recipe only has a few ingredients, there isn't a lot of prep needed. We'll start by mincing the garlic. Fun fact, garlic has a compound called allicin that helps boost the immune system and lower blood pressure. Next we'll prep the mushrooms, starting with shiitake. We've taken the stem off and wiped the cap with a damp towel. We'll slice these into strips about a 1/4 inch thick. What's shiitake's favorite type of movie? Anything with a captivating story. Whether buying or using mushrooms, you want to avoid any that contain brown or dark splotches, or have a bad smell. It usually means there is presence of bacteria, but these look great. Next we'll cut the shimeji. These usually come in a bunch. We'll have to slice off the bottom to separate them. And now we'll prep the brown shimeji. These mushrooms are mostly grown in China, Japan, and Korea, and are used commonly in hot pots, stir fries, or soups. We want to remove any excess dirt, so we'll throw them in a strainer and rinse them off. Last of our shrooms is the maitake. Maitake translates to dancing mushroom in English. We only want the top leafy part, so we'll cut off the woody stem. These shrooms usually grow in the fall, and go by several names. Hen of the woods, sheep's head, or signorina, which means the unmarried woman in Italian. Despite what you may have heard, it's fine to wash mushroom in water. Just let them dry before you store them. We don't need to let them dry here as we'll use them right away. Lastly, we'll roughly chop the parsley. When boiling the pasta, we'll use only half the recommended amount of water. This will concentrate the starch in the pasta water, and add a tablespoon of salt. And add the pasta with a dramatic flourish, or at least try. Then give them a gentle nudge until they all go under. We want to cook these to al dente, which means to the teeth, so there should be a little bite to it. When the pasta is close to being done, we want to save a cup of the pasta water. We may not use all of it, but it's better to have more and need less. Because we're using less water, we want to keep stirring the pasta every couple of minutes to keep them from clumping. That's it, now we'll drain the pasta water. Now we can cook with fire. In a large pan on medium-low heat, we'll add the olive oil and then the garlic. We want to add the garlic when the oil is cold. As the oil heats up, the garlic will steam and bubble and release its flavor into the oil. We'll saute the garlic for about 30 seconds or until it's softened. Then we pile on the shrooms. And we'll sprinkle on a little bit of our black magic pepper. And saute these until they glitter like gold, as they say in the biz. Probably. If we stop the video right here, nobody would suspect a thing. These are ready to eat. Oh man, just look at these, you guys. Don't they look incredible? But as Randy Beckman said, you ain't seen nothing yet. We were already at mythical with these mushrooms. Now we kick it up a notch and elevate this dish to a transcendent level where it exists on a plane of its own. We'll add the butter and let it melt halfway. Then we'll add our light soy sauce to create a luscious, lip-smacking umami sauce. We'll let the mushrooms luxuriate and soak up this amazing sauce so they're bursting with flavor. And let the sauce reduce a little. When the sauce starts to bubble, we'll add our pasta, along with a half a cup of our extra starchy pasta water. Now we'll gently stir and combine to create a silky sauce that coats and binds to the pasta. See how slowly the sauce glides in the pan? That's the type of viscosity you're looking for. At this point, we'll turn off the heat and top it with some parsley. The parsley will provide a citrusy bite that will cut through the richness of the butter and soy sauce. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more great recipes. There you have it, our luxurious Japanese-style soy butter mushroom pasta. It's rich and packed with an umami punch. Why did the burrata go to school? Because they wanted to be more cultured. Today we're making a spicy tomatoes and burrata pasta. Burrata is a cow's milk cheese and comes from southern Italy. It's made with mozzarella. The mozzarella is stretched into a pouch and then stuffed with scraps of mozzarella and cream. There isn't a lot to prep. First, we'll chop the chilies into tiny pieces. The smaller the pieces, the spicier the taste. And next, we'll mince the garlic. How do you make a garlic laugh? Tell a clover joke. We'll mince the rest, and that's it. We're ready to go. Now we'll boil the pasta. We'll bring a pot of water to boil, add a liberal amount of salt, and cook the pasta to al dente, based on the instructions on the box. These medium shell pasta will take about 10 to 12 minutes. Once the pasta is cooked, we want to save about a cup of water. We may not use all of it, but it's good to have more and need less than the other way around. With all the ingredients prepared, now we hit the fire. We'll start with a large pan on medium-low heat. We're using the 2 setting on this induction top that goes from 1 to 10. We'll add the butter and let it melt. Once the butter is melted, we'll add the minced garlic and let it soften. Should take about 30 to 60 seconds. Why does Dracula hate garlic bread? It gives him heartburn. To the garlic-infused butter, we'll add the chilies and the black pepper to bring the heat. We want to control the temperature in the pan to avoid burning the garlic. Feel free to adjust the spice level to your taste. Now into the pan go the tomatoes. We'll stir to coat the tomatoes and allow them to cook through a little. This can take a few minutes. What's the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. Here we'll add a pinch of salt to help pull the water from the tomatoes so it can enrich the sauce. What did one tomato friend say to the other? Let's catch up. The tomatoes look to be done. Now we'll add the tomato paste. The tomato paste will add an umami element to the sauce. Umami not only helps to enhance the flavors of the other ingredients, but it also helps you feel satisfied and full after a meal. Now we'll add the pasta water. Pasta water will bring the ingredients together into a sauce, and the starch will help it thicken. A British man once told me, if you like vodka and tomato juice so much, why don't you Bloody Mary it? Looks like it could use a bit more water. Now we'll add the heavy cream and stir to combine the sauce until it thickens, and lower the heat to simmer. We'll stir gently to avoid breaking the tomatoes. With the sauce ready, we can now introduce the cooked pasta. Because we didn't rinse the pasta, it will bring additional starch to the game. This will help the sauce bind to the pasta and thicken even more. Since the pasta is already cooked, we only need to coat the pasta with the sauce and heat it through. There, this looks perfect. Now we'll turn off the heat and top the pasta with pieces of burrata. This is a popular cheese with our friends and family. Everyone from kids to adults just love it. Why was the mafia after the burrata? Because it spilled its guts. We'll also add fresh basil leaves to counter the richness of the sauce with its floral brightness. And as an optional ingredient, some red chili flakes. It's not really optional in our household. If you're looking for more burrata recipes, check out the link above to our roasted tomatoes and burrata with crostini recipe. That's it, time to feast, because dinner is served. There you have it, spicy tomatoes and burrata pasta. A taste of southern Italy in the comfort of your own kitchen. On today's episode, we're making fettuccine with a kale Alfredo, and it's going to be vegan. So let's get started. We'll start by boiling the pasta. Add a liberal amount of salt to a pot of water and bring it to a boil. Then add the pasta and cook it to package instructions to al dente. For us, it took about 10 minutes. Once the pasta is cooked, save a cup of the pasta water. This is our secret ingredient. And strain the pasta, but don't rinse. With the pasta cooked, now we'll go ahead and make the kale Alfredo sauce. In a pan over medium heat, we'll add vegan butter and allow it to melt. Once melted, we'll add our onions and make them sweat for 2 to 3 minutes. We just want to cut the raw taste of the onions out and bring out a little bit of the sweetness. Now we have the onions properly interrogated. We'll go ahead and add the minced garlic and saute for another minute or two. Careful not to burn the onions or the garlic. We really don't need to cook them for long. We'll add a little bit of salt for flavor and to wick out the moisture from the onions. Love that smell of butter, onion, and garlic. Now we'll go ahead and add the kale, which we've chopped up. We'll saute the kale until it's softened, which only takes a few minutes. You'll be rewarded with the kale turning this vibrant green color. This looks good. We'll go ahead and turn off the burner and take the pan off the heat and allow the vegetables to cool. Now we can combine the vegetables with the rest of the ingredients and make the sauce. We'll start by adding the vegetables to the blender, along with our cashews, nutritional yeast, salt and black pepper, Italian seasoning, lemon juice, and finally vegetable broth. And we'll set the blender to high and puree the mixture. You'll be surprised how the color changes. It goes from this pasty yellow of the nutritional yeast to a beautiful emerald green. There, this looks good. Our vegan kale Alfredo sauce is done. Back at the stove, we'll set the heat to medium and add a little bit of vegan butter to the pan. We're going to saute the mushrooms with a little bit of salt and pepper. This is an optional step that we're taking because we like mushrooms. Mushrooms are good for your heart and your blood. The mushrooms will give off a lot of moisture. Combined with the salt and pepper, this will create a braising liquid. Once all the liquid has evaporated and the mushrooms are cooked through, we'll go ahead and turn off the stove. We remove some mushrooms from the pan for garnish, and then add the kale Alfredo sauce to the pan. Now we'll go ahead and add the cooked pasta and combine. We love using this pasta spoon, which we affectionately refer to it as the claw. With the heat turned off, we're not really cooking anything. We just want to coat the pasta with this sauce. If the sauce starts to thicken up, use some of our secret ingredient, the pasta water that we saved, and thin it out. This looks good. Our vegan fettuccine kale Alfredo is done. Look at that beautiful color. There you have it. Vegan fettuccine and kale Alfredo. Today we're making a quick and delicious umami-rich pasta dish. It's spicy, it's creamy, and it's one of our go-to dishes when we're short on time. So let's get started. We'll start by bringing a pot of water to boil, and use only half the recommended amount of water so it's extra starchy. We'll add salt and cook the pasta to al dente, per package instructions. Before draining the pasta, we'll save 1 cup of the starchy pasta water. While the pasta is cooking, in a separate pot, we'll add olive oil, along with a tablespoon of butter for extra flavor. Then we'll add the minced garlic. We'll saute the garlic for about 30 to 60 seconds and allow the garlic to infuse the butter and the oil. Then we'll add the chopped onions and allow them to turn translucent. This will take about 3 to 4 minutes. Now we'll add our tomatoes and allow them to cook and pop. Once the tomatoes are softened, we'll break them down using the back of the spoon. Why were the kids afraid of the pepper on Halloween? Because it was a ghost pepper. Then we'll add the tomato paste, stir it to combine, and allow it to cook for 1 to 2 minutes. Next we'll add harissa. Harissa is a spicy garlicky Tunisian sauce that is great to use as an ingredient, a dip, or a condiment. Next we'll add 1 cup of vegan heavy cream, or you can use regular heavy cream. Wow, just look at that color pop. You can almost taste the richness right here. Then we'll add some black pepper for a little extra spice and fragrance. And salt to taste, the hidden superstar. Remember the pasta water we saved? We'll add half of that to help control consistency. If the sauce is too thick, add a little more. If it's too thin, allow the sauce to cook and reduce. Now in goes the cooked pasta. Because the pasta has starch on the surface, the sauce will thicken even more. If it's too dry, add a little more pasta water. Just tweak it to how you like it. At this point, we turn off the heat and add some Parmesan cheese. This is entirely optional. Let's be honest, it's really not. Listen to your heart to say when. And some freshly chopped parsley, which helps cut through the richness of the pasta with its citrusy bite. Now we give it a final mix, and that's it. Harissa pasta is done. If you like this recipe, click the like button and leave a comment below. Also be sure to subscribe for more great content. We upload recipes every week and you don't want to miss out. And share this with your friends and family to spread the love. With a little more Parmesan and parsley, a taste of Tunisia in the comfort of your own home. Today we're making a simple but surprisingly delicious pasta that breaks all the rules. So we're calling it the no rules pasta. But more commonly it's referred to as spaghetti all'assassina, or assassin spaghetti, or killer spaghetti. So let's get started. To make the spaghetti, we're going to start with a simple homemade pasta sauce. Here we have a 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes that we're going to smash down. We're not going to completely puree these tomatoes because the leftover larger pieces add a nice textural component to the final product. You can use the back of the spoon like this to break them down, or go in with a potato smasher. What did one tomato say to the other during a race? Catch up! This is what we're looking for. It's saucy but still has chunks of tomatoes that we can bite into. Now we'll cook the sauce. To a saucepan, we'll add a couple of tablespoons of EVU, or extra virgin olive oil, along with 1 tablespoon of minced garlic and a teaspoon of red chili flakes. Then turn on the heat. You always want to add the garlic to cold oil so it heats up with the oil and doesn't burn. Once the oil is hot, we'll add in our crushed tomatoes and stir to combine. The oil may seem like a lot, but that's only because we haven't stirred it in yet. Now we'll add some salt and black pepper to taste. Next we'll add some fresh basil leaves to brighten up the sauce with a bit of aromatics. Also, depending on your tomatoes, you may want to add a little bit of sugar. It helps to cut the acidity and round out the flavor. You can also use a pinch of baking soda if you want to avoid the sugar. We'll cover with the lid and let it simmer for 10 minutes. And voila! 10 minutes later, our sauce is ready. You can also make this ahead of time and store it in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 weeks. Now we can make the pasta. Unlike other pasta dishes, we're not going to boil the pasta. We'll cook it directly in the pan. So along with the pasta sauce, we'll need some hot water that we've heated in this electric kettle. Super handy. Now, in a wide pan over medium-low heat, we'll add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, along with some minced garlic and red chili flakes. If you think we're using a lot of chili flakes, well, you're not wrong. They don't call it the killer pasta for nothing. Once the oil is hot, we'll add in half a pound of spaghetti. Then we'll gently stir to coat the spaghetti with the oil and allow it to cook a little, being careful to avoid breaking the spaghetti. This is a no rules pasta, but with one exception. We never break the spaghetti. Spaghetti is meant to be twirled around with a fork. If we broke it, there would be no twirling. And then what's the point? We might as well eat penne. Once the color of the pasta changes, then we'll add in some hot water. We'll need to be as gentle as possible because the pasta is still brittle. Once it loosens a little, we can stir more freely. And then we'll add a cup of our pasta sauce. We'll allow the pasta to cook and the water and sauce mixture to reduce. Since the pasta is cooking in the pan, the starch that's released actually helps to thicken the sauce and allow the pasta sauce to stick to the pasta. Then we'll add some more water and more pasta sauce. And keep repeating this process until the pasta is fully cooked. Spaghetti all'assassina's name and origins are shrouded in mystery, and a popular legend attributes it to an interaction between a chef and a customer. The customer arrives to the restaurant extremely hungry and angry, and threatens the chef to make him something quick, because he's an assassin. The chef decides a simple spaghetti and tomato sauce dish is what's called for. However, the chef ends up getting distracted midway, and burns the pasta. Worrying for his life, he hesitantly confesses to the customer there would be a delay. The customer gets extremely upset, and demands to eat the dish as is, and if he doesn't like it, he'll kill the chef. The chef nervously serves the dish, and makes it as presentable as possible. The customer eyes it skeptically, but eats it anyways. And wouldn't you know it, they end up loving it. Ever since, it's been called the assassin's spaghetti. Now possibly that's all just a fine ball of yarn, and a more likely reason is that the dish is from southern Italy, a region known for their bold flavors, and supposedly this pasta kills you with its intense and spicy flavor. Me personally, I like the assassin story myself, but to each their own. This is just beautiful right here. The sauce has thickened up and the pasta is nearly cooked. Now we patiently allow the water to evaporate and the sauce to adhere to the pasta for dear life. When the pasta is al dente, it should look something like this. There will be barely any sauce left and it will begin sticking to the pan. Usually at this point we would stop for the worry of burning the pasta. However, being that it's the assassin's killer pasta, let's be bold and take it a step beyond. Now that all the liquid has evaporated, the pasta and the tomatoes from the sauce will begin to crisp up and caramelize. We'll spread the pasta evenly across the pan, so as much of the pasta is touching the surface of the pan as possible. We'll wait for about 20 seconds, then using a spatula, we'll want to get underneath the pasta, scrape the pan if needed, and gently fold it over. Then leave the pasta for another 15 to 20 seconds before turning. We'll keep repeating this process until as much of the pasta is as charred as possible, or to our heart's content. This is the magic of the dish right here. If you had a succulent sun-dried tomato before, you're familiar with its sweet and complex flavor profile. Now imagine developing that umami taste throughout the pasta with a garlicky and peppery punch, and then combining that with the chewy texture of the slightly charred spaghetti. That's a killer dish. And that's what we have here. Then we'll turn off the heat and garnish with a few basil leaves. That's it, we're ready to serve. Since the pan was still hot, and the pasta has been sitting in the pan for a minute, we'll actually have to scrape the pasta to separate from the pan. As those grandmas used to say, if you're not scraping the pan, you're not doing it right, or something along those lines. We'll serve ourselves a generous portion, and try to stick the landing. There you have it, spaghetti all'assassina, a taste of Italy in the comfort of your own home. A truly fine dish that belongs in the pantheon of pantry classics, because it's more than the sum of its parts. Before we dig in, we'll top it off with the customary and borderline obligatory Parmigiano Reggiano, and a garnish of basil, which is technically our serving of vegetable for the day. My mouth is watering already. Here is me, imagining my superpower is twirling spaghetti, my catchphrase being, it's twirling time. Look at that vibrant color of the sauce that just soaks into the pasta and coats it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more great content. Thank you for watching. Enjoy!